Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are just joining me, I'm getting started. This is part one, everyone, of how to stay grounded, even in crisis, whether you're feeling amazing, whether you're not feeling amazing. And we're just getting started. Hello, Sanaz. So if you're just joining, say hello. If you're new to these, I'm basically teaching at myself. And so if I say hello to you, it's because I love to have that feedback that I know that there are other humans on the other side. So thank you for letting me know that you're here. I super appreciate it. And I also want to just invite all of you to just say hello in the comments. And also, if you guys have any questions or stuff is coming up, please let me know because I would love to speak to that. So especially if you're joining me live, I can actually address those questions and all of those things as we roll. I have this like random hair that's driving me crazy, but oh well, it's just gonna have to drive me crazy because I got the mirror effect. I don't know how to deal with it. So before we get started, and I am gonna get started really quickly here because there is a lot I want to cover over the next few days, and I do want to keep these videos under half an hour. And I know half an hour is long, but for me, I have a tendency to want to give you a lot. So what I'm going to try to do is to try to kind of concentrate, condense, and kind of break it up over more time rather than flood you with an hour of a lot. So just to get started, if you are new to me, I know some of you already know who I am. For those who don't know who I am, I'm Jen Plotnikoff, creator of Deep Courage Method of Healing. I'm a self-healing expert and a fear alchemist. And so I really want to talk today a little bit about fear. And I know that this is all about how to stay grounded. But the first thing that I really wanted to talk about before we kind of get into all of everything, and if you see me kind of looking over here, it's because I have some notes I want to refer back to kind of keep me focused and grounded. What I really want to talk about is actually dispelling a little bit about and addressing what fear actually is, what's actually going on right now, globally and internally, why we're having the reactions that we're having. I want to kind of break this down to you so that you kind of have an idea and understanding. And from here, you'll understand over the next few days where we're going to go with this. So I want to give you some tools. You will get, as I mentioned before, leading up to this, as I was kind of telling you about what we're going to talk about, I did mention that there's going to be what I call home play, which is like homework, but more fun. And it's really simple, but it's really, really powerful. And one of the key important things about the home play is it is going to help you to actually digest and absorb the information. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that and why that's important as I get into the topic today. So without further ado, that's who I am. Welcome. If you are watching this in the future, please feel free to send me questions and comments. I do come back to these. And if you're watching this sometime in the future, what I often will do is if you find video for one part or you're wondering where the other parts are, I usually will post them as links in the comments below. And you can also find this in my business page, Moved From within the event itself. So you can look at past events. And even right now, if you're kind of into this and you're kind of wanting to go into more, there are past events. Usually in the description box, there are links to the videos. And the other thing is, I'm going to apologize. There's a lot of noise going on. Hopefully the sound quality is good. My internet finally is amazing here. So that I've had issues in the past with Mexican internet, but that's been resolved. But apologies in advance. Hopefully with the audio here with the headphones, it's good. But today has been just a particularly noisy day in the small town here in Mexico. it is what it is. So hopefully the quality is good. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Awesome. Let's get into this. So I'm just going to go through my notes. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of what I wanted to speak to over the next few days. And then what I'm going to do is actually just do a really simple little grounding exercise before I get into teaching mode. And that's for a couple reasons. One is that grounding exercise is going to be actually part of your home play. And it's a really, really simple tool that you can use to access your health, your potency, and the feelings of goodness and well-being in your body. And we're going to talk about why that's really important very soon. So overall, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about what's actually going on. So we're going to talk about what the fight, flight, fear response, all this stuff is, what's happening in relationship to global stuff, why we might be feeling overwhelmed, why we might be having all of a sudden a lot of stuff come up. There might be a lot of old stuff coming up as well. Hello, if you're coming on. So we're going to be talking about that today. And then over the next couple days, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to teach you, these are pieces from the Deep Courage method. So as I mentioned, Deep Courage really is the methodology that I use for my own self and also for my clients to basically, it's like when we're building a house, we need to have a solid foundation. And for most of us in our development, you know, from birth to childhood and all these things, a lot of us have kind of developed foundations that are not very healthy, right? We've developed ways of coping and being in the world that work until they don't. And so what the process of Deep Courage does is actually reconstruct a much healthier foundation so that we're really able to grow from there, right? It's like having a tree with only half of its roots. We might be leaning over and it's really difficult to kind of grow out from there because there's this constant state of instability and a constantly trying to kind of ground. And we kind of often get stuck there. Sometimes people call this survival mode and we demonize that, but we're going to talk a little bit about more about that today too. So what I'm going to do is give you a few fundamental pieces that I think that you can use right away and start to practice right away that will really start to repair your own foundation. And again, even in the next 4 days, again, these are pieces from Deep Courage. It's not the whole program. So these are the things that I really think are kind of the most important things that if you actually start practicing and applying them and weaving into your current practices, what you're currently doing, it will help your process of healing and stability and groundingness and feeling okay and being okay, even in crisis. It will help that unfold a lot more with a lot more ease and fluidity and speed, right? And perhaps even get you unstuck in places if you're feeling quite sticky. So that's what we're going to be going through in the next few days. So, because I'm really excited and I'm excited that you're all here, what we're going to do is we're just going to start with a really simple little way to kind of come back to the present moment. So if you didn't watch, I did a live video yesterday and I was talking about the importance of being in the present and coming back to the present. It's because it's the only way we can really start to deal with what is. And it's actually a really powerful place to be because when we're in the past all the time and when we're in the future all the time, we're constantly running all of those programs, right? That can be helpful and can be really unhelpful. They could be conscious, they could be subconscious. What happens is when we come into now, we can actually start to deal with the reality that is, right? We can actually start to deal with what's actually happening. We can start to deal with the truth because often what can happen is we will amplify and snowball things, or we can be unaware of things that are really stuck. So more about that in a moment. So just want you, again, to, if you're not already in a place that's quiet and uninterrupted, go ahead, shut the doors, Shut the windows, turn off your phone or turn off your notifications, you know, put it into airplane mode, turn your notifications off, and just take a moment to really allow yourself to shut off the distractions. So this is going to be less than 5 minutes. I'm just going to guide you through a really simple way to just come back to where we are right now and just kind of unify our energy a little bit. So you can have your eyes open or you can have your eyes closed. I'm actually just going to keep my eyes open and I'm just looking at a beautiful tree that's outside my window right now. So what I'm going to invite you to do is just start to pay attention to where your body is touching gravity. So if you're sitting in a chair, if you're laying down, if you'd like to lay down, you don't necessarily have to look at your screen to follow me. So you can just listen to my voice. So if you want to lay down, and if you've been feeling really kind of overwhelmed and stressed out lately, I highly recommend laying down, bring a pillow under your head if you want, throw a cushion underneath your knees. You can even come down into the position I call constructive rest, which is basically your back on the floor and then your legs kind of propped up on resting, so calves resting on a bed or a chair so that your hips and knees are 90 degrees. And this can be a really soothing place for your nervous system to just start to settle. So just take a few minutes just to feel Gaia, feel the earth beneath you. So just feel the pressure, feel the coolness or the warmth or the softness or the firmness. So just start to feel the texture, the warmth, and the physical presence of earth supporting you. So feeling into the back of your head, back of your neck, whole back line of your body, the weight of your 3 kind of heavy centers, so your head, back of the shoulders, back of the heart, back of the pelvis. Just feeling the weight distribution of your body. So just kind of take a moment to, from head down or feet up, whatever you'd like, or even middle out, just start to kind of scan into different areas of your body and just noticing their weight. So just noticing the weight of your bones being received by Gaia. So if you notice places that are relaxed, just notice those. And if you notice places that feel tense, just let them be how they are. So resist your perhaps urge to want to change or make it different. So this is, I'm just asking you to just be curious about the present physical sensation that's happening in your body right now. Nothing more, nothing less. Really simple. Really simple. There's no bad here. There's no good here. There's just curiosity around sensation. So notice what that's like, not to have to try to do anything in particular and just to feel. So not even observing with your mind or your intellect. I mean, we're bringing our attention, but feeling just from the inside of our body. Notice the weight of your bones. If you're really visual, you can even imagine the contour and shape of your bones. And if you're not visual, tap into the felt sense or both. So whatever is available to you right now, just tap into that. I'm just going to ask you just to bring your palms together, just rubbing your hands together for a moment. I'm just going to give you a little, you can just follow along if you're laying down. If you are looking at the screen, I'll give you a little demo. Just rubbing the palms together, just creating a little bit of heat in your palms. And you're just going to bring the palms of your hands just over top of your eyes. You can keep your eyes open. You can keep your eyes closed here. So just fingertips and fingers just kind of rest on the forehead. And again, you can do this seated. You can do this lying down. And just letting the eyes just kind of sink back into the back of your head. Letting your palms just give a little bit of love and space and attention to the eyes. And now just start to notice coming back to the head, the heart, the pelvis. Now just noticing the weight and if anything's changed or if anything feels the same. So just checking back in. Just with the state of your present body. So I'm just going to invite you to start to move the hands away. You can maybe even just give yourself a little face massage, a little scalp massage, little neck massage, back of the neck, and just kind of bringing us back together and kind of into a receptive state. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of information and some downloads here. I actually pulled a card for you all too, and I was a little bit surprised about the card that came up. So I'll do a little bit of channeling about that in a moment. But from this place, from this present state, so all we really did right there is simply brought our body into harmony with what's happening right now. And this is really, really simple, but this is actually one of the most powerful tools, not just in my own arsenal, but this is a really, really powerful tool. This is something you can practice. And this, by the way, is your home play to practice this tonight, to practice this over the course of the next 30 days. So just taking 5 minutes out, I'm actually going to give you guys another guided meditation that you might find also helpful. It's a different way to kind of get to the same state. And the state that we're in right now is a state of harmony in our nervous system and a state of receiving mode. So, what's actually happening right now on the planet? What's actually happening? So yesterday, and I'm going to use this radio dial analogy because I'm really loving it lately. I'm feeling like it makes a lot of sense. What's happening right now is globally, the volume is essentially getting turned way, way up to what is happening internally inside of many of us. And you might have heard me talk a little bit before about hidden anxiety. So a lot of us are running in a state of what I call like confusion or incoherence within our nervous system. So what does that mean? What it means is that there's mixed messages happening within our being, within our body. And what happens is when you have really poor communication happening internally, you are in a state of confusion, right? You can feel stuck. This is where we can get stuck in one kind of mode or way of being, right? So if we have an underlying thing where we're incongruent around maybe the vibration around how we deal with fear or anger or other stuff, right now everything's getting turned up. So we're having a lot of energy and attention being put on something that we kind of had going on all along, but now we're really having to pay attention to that. And so this is something that I've actually seen for a long, long time in my clients. It's also a theme that I had in my own body. So I had anxiety my entire life, but I had no idea that I actually was struggling with anxiety. All I knew was that I felt really tired all the time and that I was really sensitive and that I couldn't drink coffee or a lot of coffee most of the time because I was really sensitive to caffeine. So what I didn't put together was that I was really hair triggered by overstimulation. So I would have things like digestive issues flare up constantly. And these are things that initially, like a lot of my clients, I tried to resolve through things like changing my diet, taking supplements, going to natural health practitioners, going to Reiki and having energy work, going to conventional medicine and doctors, and never really ending up with a permanent solution. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about part of this process and journey was really understanding that a core fundamental thing that I was missing was actually simply feeling safe in my own body. So most of us have an understanding that in our culture and our society that we're really intellectual, right? And this is really great. But what happens is we're also really disconnected to our physical body and all of its intelligence. So I want you to consider something really powerful for a moment. We are not spirit, mind, body. We are all of them at the same time. I'm going to say that again. We're not mind, body, spirit. We are all of them at the same time. Your spirit and your body are the same thing. So what happens is when we don't understand our body and when we don't understand and we're actually kind of afraid of being inside of this body, what we're doing is we're actually blocking ourselves off to our own medicine. Because what I realized was the body really is the tool, right? What I'm giving you, the tools that I'm giving you are actually ways for you to access your own tools. You already have them. Think about this. You grew your own body, right? A lot of us think about, as an embryo, as a seed, that our mothers grew us. No, that's not how it works. If you study embryology, if you look at the reality of how a human being grows, there is a fundamental element of organization, and that organization is the intelligence of spirit. But there's a fundamental communication and synergy that happens between spirit and matter, between spirit and vibrational energy. That is the density of matter, right? Matter is vibrational energy. We're all just waves, but we're just really, really slow, long waves, right? This is why, the other day when I was doing the video about high vibe, this is really why it's really important to actually be aware of all the vibrations and to work with all the vibrations and not just work with spirit, intellect. That's important, but it's working with the denser layers. So one of the miscommunications that I'm seeing over and over that's happening is that globally we're like transmuting the physical realm. What we're actually doing is we're unifying the physical realm, because we actually don't know yet the physical realm. We don't understand it. We're not living inside of it. We're living it, but we're not living it with consciousness. We're not living it with presence, and we're not living it with wholeness. Okay? So kind of coming back to this sense of kind of information, confusion, all this stuff. Really simply, 101. What we're feeling right now is whatever we're stuck on, whether that's anxiety, whether that's overwhelm, whether it's, you could be feeling great, and if you are, good job. Whatever it is that you're feeling right now, whatever it is that's getting amplified right now for you personally, whatever that is, this is actually what's going to happen. So when you start to do this kind of grounded meditation, you might start to feel this sort of start to bubble to the surface. So what I really want you to know is that that's okay, right? What's been happening over the last 5, 10, 30, 50 years of your life is this has been a pattern that you have been running for a long time. And what I want you to understand is this pattern is not inherently bad or wrong. Okay, this is really, really important. The pattern that you've been running for a really, really long time, it's just that you're kind of stuck there. Okay? What happens, it's kind of like, again, with the radio dial analogy, it's kind of like we have our dial stuck on the country station, and then we get tired of hearing country music all the time, right? What we need to do, it's the same problem. If we're constantly focused on the high vibe classical station and we're stuck there, we don't have access to all of the different stations, right? We don't have access to all of the stations. So over the next few days, what I want to do is help you to understand what it means for you internally to turn your own dial. Here's the other little piece of really vital information that's important to integrate right now is that you don't have to think about it. Your body already knows how to do it. So the reason why I mentioned you grew you didn't learn or have to learn how to grow a heart or a liver or your bones. You just did it. Your body already knew. So trust in that. What I really want to, as you kind of come into this little home play practice of coming back into just simply feeling your body on the ground, feeling your body in the present moment, accepting what is, and actually feeling the sensation of what it feels like to receive the earth with your bones. Just simply receive the earth with your bones. What you're actually doing is you're starting to prepare your container. You're starting to prepare the dial to kind of trigger the memory that, oh yeah, I'm a dial. I can move. I can change channels. Okay? We're going to deal with different channels, maybe channels that we love, maybe channels that we don't like so much a little bit later on this week. But right now, what we're really just doing is we are reconnecting to that inner intelligence, that inner sacred intelligence that's inherent in your body. You cannot do this through your intellect. This is really, really important. Something that I wrote down that I wanted to make sure I remembered was, you might be thinking, I do, meditations, I do a lot of these different exercises. The reason why it's so important to focus on sensation is it's the language that the body speaks, and it's the language that our nervous system understands. So in our journey of coming towards better internal communication, we have to first start relearning or reconnecting to a language that we already know. It's like, for example, I used to speak Russian when I was a child. I cannot remember most words, but if someone's speaking in Russian, I recognize it and I know it, because it's something that it's very difficult to unlearn, right? It's something that's already there. So this is something that you didn't even learn as a child. This is something that's inherently part of your makeup as a human, intelligent soul being on this planet, right? So what I'm asking you to do is, it's really important, especially if we have been working with patterns for a really, really, really long time, simply intentionally trying to meditate it away, pour love and light on it, that is actually not going to serve us. Because what we need to do is recognizing what's going on at the cellular level. There is a whole story that's going on right now inside of your body, and it's screaming at you. It is screaming to be told, especially with the volume turned up. You might really hear it now. You might not have heard it before, but you're really, really hearing it now. So this is a really good place. This is a good starting point to start to listen in an environment where it can feel okay, feel safe, right? Feel that physical support. I'm going to give you guys, as I mentioned, an alternative for the home play. And the reason why, I'm going to explain a little bit what it is and the reason why. So step one today is, what I want you to do is just to simply connect with feeling present, feeling in your body, and just feeling okay about it and not wanting to run away from you, right? Most of us, we have been so traumatized. We have had so many experiences to teach us to escape our body that sometimes re-entry can be challenging. So what I'm giving you is a couple of different tools to help you to really understand and get the idea of what it feels like to feel safe, to feel okay, and just start to reconnect with that. This is really, really important, because if we don't first have a fundamental understanding of what it feels like to have a foundation, like I was talking about before, most of us have a really crumbly foundation for what's going on. And on top of that, we're doing all this amazing self-development stuff. So it's kind of like having a house with a half-built foundation, and now you want a second deck and a second story and a patio and a palapa and all these beautiful things. But guess what? Your house is going to fall down. It can't support that, right? This is where we are at when we are in a space of overwhelm or anxiety, and we're starting to get overwhelmed by fear and all of this stuff. We're understanding what that's actually showing us is it's showing us the cracks in the foundation. So this is really step one of beginning to repair the roots, deepen the roots, diversify the roots, reconnect back. Maybe you forgot you even had roots to begin with, right? So the connecting with the feeling of support of Gaia is often really, really a really wonderful way. If that's not something that worked for you, that's okay. Again, I'm going to give you this little resourcing meditation. It's about a 15-minute recording. I believe it's guided. Same thing. Play with that and just notice what your experience is. Notice what happens. Notice how you're feeling afterwards. Notice how you interact with other people afterwards. Really notice how starting to kind of reconnect with that inner intelligence. What happens for you? So I'm just going to have a quick little look at my notes. Okay, so I think I'm going to end it there. So today, your home play, again, homework, but more fun, is to practice this little settling exercise we did, little journey, however you like to call it. Practice this tonight before you go to bed. So that's your home play. If you want to take it further, practice this over the next 30 days. I will post a little bit later, again, down below, the resourcing meditation. That's a Dropbox link that you can access and you can download it. Feel free to download it. And feel free to share it with others as well. Feel free to share this training series with others if you feel that others are going to be of benefit. The only thing that I ask you is that you let whoever you're sharing it know where it comes from. So if they have questions or if stuff comes up, they have somewhere to go and they're not just out there without support. Okay, this is really, really important. The journey is internal, but having our support network is really, really crucial. Having the right environment, having the right container is really, really important because it allows us to be able to actually be able to work through some of this stuff much easier, much faster, and in a much more gentle way. So again, what I mentioned is tomorrow I'm going to start to give you a couple more tips, tricks, and tools about that come from. Actually start to integrate these into your life, into your own practice. And what I'd like to invite you to do is if you have questions, comments, queries, I'm just going to have a little. Oh my goodness, I haven't been paying attention to the comments. Let's see, stuck in fear. So yeah, I'm just going to address this. So Mary was talking about her husband being stuck in fear. And the reason why I just wanted to address this is because that's him. So this is the other thing that I really want to remind you with, is the only person you can really work with and deal with is you. It's all about you. So, for example, if we have partners, loved ones, friends, neighbors, feel free to share this training with them. But don't try to do the work for them. Okay, that's why I just wanted to address that, because this is really, really important. We can really get confused sometimes. And again, if you're empathetic, you might want to be taking on other people's stuff, right? So I'm speaking to Mary, but I'm also speaking to all of you, particularly for those who hold space for others. I know some of you are space holders, teachers, healers, and in some capacity. Work on you. Keep the focus on you. Okay, keep the focus on your body, your present, and you. You can only be effective if you take care of you first. Okay, this is really, really important. You can only be an effective teacher, space holder, whatever, if you take care of you first. So here's the interesting thing is, again, the volume is being turned up right now because everyone is playing on everyone else's stuck fears. We all have it, and so it's all getting turned up. For those of us who are in really healthy relationship with our fears, we can be with people that are freaking out and not freak out. And the power of that is incredible. I'm going to talk a little bit about that later on in the training, the sort of the like exponential piece of how this actually impacts globally. But for right now, what I just want you to do is just focus on you. That is going to be the most powerful place to focus. Resist the urges to want to fix people, okay? Resist. And resist to trying to fix others. Here's the thing is, like I said, it's not bad to be in fear. What we're working on right now is just a starting point to start to be able to work with what fear actually is and start to work in flow. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that over the next couple of days. I'm going to talk about the difference between healthy fear, unhealthy fear, how we get stuck and how we get unstuck. But the very first thing that I really wanted to share with you, because this is the most fundamental part, is we need to reconnect to being present in our body. So practice this little practice, home play. Let me know how that was for you. Also, you can try out the exercise I mentioned. And the last thing I just wanted to say, let's see, home play. Oh, yes. I told you what we're going to talk about tomorrow. And as I mentioned, this process, I go much deeper in the whole deep courage process. So just keeping that in mind, that I'm pulling out some keys for you to really practice and digest and work on. So home play, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I think that's about it. Let's see. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, I had one of those joining me from La Lancha. How beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for all the love, everyone. I hope this was helpful. I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place for part 2. We're going 4 parts, this series training. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Let me know how you're doing in the comments with your little bit of home play. Sending you all of my love and blessings from Mexico. The other thing that I did not do, but I will actually go into maybe a little bit more tomorrow, is this card here that I mentioned I pulled. So we're going to get into this tomorrow because we run out of time today, but I really wanted to address this because this is a really potent one. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to do a little more channeling tomorrow, a little more teaching. Some more home play is coming to you. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what fear is. So we're going to talk a little bit more about Fear 101 and actually deconstructing what it is so we can actually work with it. When we don't understand what we're dealing with, it's really difficult to deal with, right? It's one of the issues with the scientists right now that are going through trying to figure out what this virus is. When we don't understand what it is we're dealing with, it's very, very difficult to come up with solutions. So this is fundamentals level 1. Let's kind of solidify and start to seal some of the cracks and start to nurture our foundation. And then tomorrow we will start to dive into what this is all about, understanding it better, and what are some other tips and tricks that we can actually do about it. Okay, loves. Sending you love from Mexico. I went a little over. Oh well, I try. I love you all. Mwah! Have a wonderful day.